Hey boys, welcome back to some more Nrl Supercoach. It's going to be a pre-lockout discussion. We'll go through, we'll update on what my trade plans are. There's one little update that I'm 99% sure I'm going to pull the trigger on. We'll look at captains, although it's pretty simple, but we'll have a look. It's also vice captains will be a big potential swing this week if someone goes massive, which could happen. There's some very good matchup this week. It could be a very high scoring round, I could imagine. We'll look at the overall, like who's trading in, who's trading out. That's always fun. And then look at the future. Although I guess, we're getting down to the nitty gritty, so there's not too much to really factor in at this point necessarily. It's just, if there's injuries, suspensions, restings, that can throw a spanner in the works. But, down to minimal trades as is. We're down to 4, and I'm pretty much locked in to being down to 3 trades after this video. So, what I've done in the last video, obviously, we went to Payne Haas from Terrell May. I think it's a bit of a no-brainer. I mean, there is obviously the only potential issue is if Broncos lose again this week. I think they're 100% missing the finals. I think they're missing the finals regardless, but there's probably a way that they can still play finals footy. So, if that happens, does Haas get a bit of a rest? He's had a couple of niggles throughout the season. It is an issue, but I guess the silver lining in that is that the Broncos still have a bye in round 24. So, he plays 2 games, bye, and then he finishes the season with 3 games at Suncorp as well. So they're playing all games. All the rest of the games are all in Queensland, which is, it's good for them, I guess. Seabus, Queensland Country Bank, and then the rest at Suncorp. There's a lot of derbies coming up. Titans, Cowboys, Dolphins, and then fucking Melbourne to finish. It would be an exciting finish for the Bronx if they weren't so fucking garbage this year, but oh well, what can you do? I think Payne Haas, he's just, I just prefer Haas over Fanil Blake at this point. I just do. If I could have both, that'd be nice, but it's not worth it for my team anyway, so that's fine. The other trade that the more I think about it, the more I'm like, it just makes sense, and that is Pierce Paul down to centre wing, swing Fermor up, and bring in Val Holmes. I think it's just the obvious play because, for one, Supercoach, we want to do well and everything, but it's also you want to enjoy the footy. And I'm not going to lie, this first game, I know the Cowboys have struggled a lot at Leichhardt Oval, and the Tigers have put some big scores on them in the past, but I just don't think I'm going to enjoy the game if, I can't enjoy the game. If Val goes massive, the Cowboys even if it's a high-scoring game and the Tigers win, the Cowboys could still score a lot of points. Val Holmes get a big one, and it would just frustrate me. So I think it's about enjoying the games as well, and it's going to make my viewing of this game a lot more enjoyable at the same time. That's one reason. Also, I do think Val Holmes he's just very hard to pass up. At 600k, he's got, it's not the easiest run home, but I think most of the games are in Townsville. He is playing for a contract, I guess. It's a bit, I don't know what's going on there. He's been given permission to look elsewhere, but now people, it's saying that they're going to re-sign him. I'm not too sure. Honestly, I don't know what's going to happen with that one, but we do know I don't think it's not a coincidence. Players do perform better, and I don't think Val, he hasn't been at his best, but it's not for a lack of trying. He's just had a few too many errors defensively. He's been not at his best, but he's been putting in effort. You can't fault Val's effort. So I don't think it's necessarily he's going to get way more involved and stuff. He's already pretty involved as is, but hopefully contract discussions, he can put in a big performance to end the year. And I think it's the other big factor is that Pierce Paul, we're not going to play Pierce Paul any week, because if we look at if we look at our back row and our team as a whole, we don't have that many players from any one team. I think the Roosters, 1, 2, 3. I think the Roosters are the most. Oh no, we got the most from Penrith, but obviously Laurie not playing, McLean and Cheapy, and then Cleary and Henry's not even really a starter. So we're not really that thin. So anytime there's like a game like this, we don't have Manly players. I'm missing Olakau'atu, Garrick, and Trbojevic. Pierce Paul is starting on the edge. Now, granted, if he wasn't playing Penrith, I'd probably start him, or I'd probably play him. But even with all those players out, I'm still like, I probably wouldn't play him. I'd probably play, I don't know, maybe Marju over him. I mean, without getting Val Holmes, I don't know. It'd be tough. It'd be Pierce Paul or Marju, but I'm not confident of either. That's another big factor. And the back row, I'm stacked. Olakau'atu out. He'll be back. Then Crichton will be out for a bye at some point. Next week Crichton will be out, but that's fine. We've only got one. We got 3 Roosters, like I said. A couple of big names, but we'll have plenty of cover for it. And yeah, it moves Fermor back up, so that gives us 6 very playable options. I mean, Pierce Paul, the only thing that's keeping me like slightly do I hold him is that he'll be a pod, and I know it is Panthers, but then it's Tigers, Sharks, South, Gold Coast Dolphins to finish. Like, it's a pretty good run home. It's just I don't know. Like, I just with Ponga back in the side, does Pierce Paul get on a run? It won't shock me. It won't shock me in a couple of weeks. Pierce Paul gets a couple of tries on the trot and scores well. But am I going to play him those weeks? Probably not. Probably not with like a full strength side. So yeah, I think it just makes sense. It makes our centre wing it makes our centre wing very stacked, I think. It makes our back row equally stacked, if not better, with Fermor instead of Pierce Paul. Our front row, very good. Our fullback, still very solid. So yeah, I think it's just the way to go. And I can't... the one other one is Joey Manu. I just prefer Holmes, I think. Like, Manu against the Dolphins could go big. Doesn't have the goal kicking, so it caps him a little bit. I still think, because I've got Dom Young as well, like if Manu's going to kill it, Dom Young will also kill it, and probably, Dom Young does have a higher ceiling than Manu, because if we look at Manu, what is his high score this season? He's gone pretty big. He's had some big scores, but has he been... Yeah. I mean, back-to-back, you got 108, 117. First game, you got 106 against the Bronx. A lot of good scores, a lot of very good scores, but not quite that massive ceiling. And he went off the boil a little bit for the last 4 rounds, obviously. So I think he's a great pickup. And you never know, I definitely could see myself going Manu in, like, after their bye, potentially. We could. Obviously, that would sort of stuff up our 3 trades at the back end, but yeah, the more I look at that as well, I'm sort of like, yeah, we probably don't need to have 3 trades for the last round. So Val Holmes, I think he could really, and he's only 13.9%. Like, I think a lot of people will probably bring him in this week. Actually, no, that's Drinkwater, you damn fool. This happens every time. He's definitely higher than that, right? Fermor up. What is he? Yeah, he's only 21.6. So compared to like a Garrick, I mean, a lot of people are going to go Mulatalo to Val. Like, it makes sense, but that's the thing. I'm like, I think this is one where you do sort of follow the crowd with Val, because he is a guy that can really hurt you. It still leaves us 200k in the bank as well. It's not breaking the bank. We're not. If we have to do a couple of big trades, we still have plenty of money to work with, and there's nothing I'm like, we need to do. So I think that is pretty locked in for me, if I'm honest. I guess the question now is sit starts. Yeah, I'll play McLean. I guess we've got Marju, Firma, or Fainu. Marju, Firma, or Fainu. We're not playing Brayley. We're not playing Liam Henry. I don't mind Henry with Fisher Harris being out, but he definitely doesn't have like any. I mean, he has scored a couple of tries, but I'd rather play Firma or Marju. So who? Obviously, Marju against the Panthers, but he'll be. I mean, again, Ponga back. He just has to hit him with one good cutout ball, score a try. He's going to get 80 points. And I can definitely see it happening. Panthers obviously are in great form at Bluebet. I'm not expecting the Knights to do well. That's the other factor, though. You got to remember, right? So Marju, his biggest asset is like just kick returns / just general play hit-ups. The problem with taking on the Panthers, this is the biggest issue with like Supercoach points, is that Penrith, they just fucking strangle the opposition, right? Like, they'll be making an extra 10, 20, even extra meters per set. Cleary will get better, like, he'll get better field position to kick, so he'll be able to kick up more like bombs rather than deep, long kicks. That takes away Marju's kick returns, pins them inside their 10 meters, and they arc up. You're not making any ground. Marju, it's tougher to make a tackle bust. Then again, like, it just compounds. Like, that's the biggest problem with taking on Penrith for like Supercoach points. They just win the field position so often that these type of wingers just don't get it. Like, if you look at like looking at Zach Lomax from last week, he did score like 70 points, but he did have he had a try assist, he had a couple of goals, and he did go to fullback, so he got involved a bit more. When he was playing on the wing, he just got suffocated. Like, he didn't get any chance to really. His base was way down. Like, he wasn't getting the chance to run the footy. He wasn't getting those tackle busts because it's just the way Penrith play, right? And I wouldn't be shocked to see another big score against Newcastle. That means Fermor against the Bronx is actually Fermor is definitely the safe option. And it's like, Fermor is going to get like 60 points, right? He gets like 60 points in base. He's been really solid. Greg Marju, probably more like 45 points in base, right? So there's 15 points deficit. If Marju gets a try, I reckon he gets about 75, 80. If Fermor doesn't get a try, he gets about 60. So 20 points extra for Marju, but that's factoring in a try, which is it's probably unlikely. Fermor is not really going to go much lower than 55 unless he gets injured. You know, anything can happen, obviously. Marju, if the Panthers really dominate and just strangle them, I mean, Marju could go as low as like 30 points. Like, he's gone pretty low this year. So I think Fermor is just a safe play. I think that just makes sense. I definitely could switch because that Knights game, I don't know. I just see Penrith. I don't see how the Knights really win the momentum in that game. Obviously, no Fisher Harris, but I mean, there was no Fisher Harris for pretty much all of last game too. When the Dragons, I mean, on paper they have a pretty okay forward pack, and they just got fucking bodied. So yeah, I think that's just the play. Then let's have a look. The big one. Captain, vice captains, you have to go Captain Cleary. You cannot risk not going him, in my opinion. So that leaves, he plays nice and late too, which is good. I mean, it's a 2 p.m. game at Bluebet, bro. Like, it doesn't get much better for a Cleary captaincy. Obviously, the only thing that could, if it's wet or something, but I don't know. For some reason, I'm thinking it's going to be a nice clear day. I don't know the weather forecast, but we'll see. Vice captain, though. Obviously, there's a couple of big ones. A couple of juicy matchups. I mean, bring in Val Holmes against the Tigers. That is a very juicy matchup, in my opinion. Obviously, he could go huge. It's hard to go past Tedesco. I mean, again, he got 126 last game. They're taking on the Dolphins, who... I mean, the Dolphins... they can turn up. Like they can turn up and just, they're so hard to predict, but I still think Tedesco against that Dolphins, he's going to get those tackle busts. Like, he's going to get some attack, and I think he's pretty dangerous. I think for me, it's out of Holmes and Tedesco. Who else have we got? I mean, New Zealand, if you had like, Tuivasa-Sheckie's not a fullback anymore, so, I mean, you could still do it. He's on the wing. Coast versus Bronx. Yeah, probably wouldn't go for feeder. I think there's better upside guys. Melbourne. I did see a comment. Someone was keen to go Jerome Hughes as captain. I mean, it's a very pod play. I don't think you could... depending where you're sitting. I mean, if you're sitting like well outside, like the top 1K, and you want to take a throw at the dartboard, sure. Like, I mean... That's the thing with anti-potting Cleary as captain. I think, for me, like, I can't do it. Even though I'm sitting at, like, 5,000, I just, like, I don't want him to go huge again and then drop, like, a few thousand spots. Like, I'd rather try to push, to push as much as I can. But if you're sitting similar spot or lower than me, or worse off, however you want to say it, like, yeah, throw a dart at the dartboard. Obviously... it does make it a little bit tricky, because if Cleary played, it would honestly be way better if Cleary played like the first 1 or 2 games, because then people would have to straight captain him or vice captain and take like a loop, right? You could get a little tricky with it. You could vice captain and then he might not go well. You never know. He could do his hemi. But in this case, because he plays so late, you can't vice captain him, which it would make a little bit more, I guess, diversity with it. But, everyone's going to captain, and then everyone's going to vice captain, probably Tedesco or a Holmes or someone like that. But I think it's just the obvious, and I don't mind it, honestly. It's just more a fact of the rest of your team now has to score well, which I like. But that's pretty much the team. That's pretty much the team as we stand. Now we got 3 trades and a boost. The more I said it, I know I went through this last video, but looking more at round 27, honestly, and the players, I don't think saving 3 trades and the boost is actually needed, because I don't really... I mean, again, it could be worse than I predict, but for my team, again, we'll go through it. Like, they're not going to rest Robson. I'd be shocked if Robson gets rested. Brayley doesn't fucking matter. Payne Haas, I mean, sure, if the Broncos are out, they might, but I mean, it's a Suncorp game against Melbourne. Like, I can't. Walters he's not going to want to get flogged by the fucking Storm in the last game of the season at Suncorp. Like, I feel like Payne's not going to rest. Josh Curran, unless he's injured, I don't think he'll rest. He's what's it called? He's been very solid. The Doggies are pushing for like a top 4 finish, so I don't think Curran will rest. Liam Henry becomes like probably a play, because I wouldn't be shocked if a couple of forwards for Penrith rest. So Henry becomes a good option. Fainu, again, why would they rest Fainu? Doesn't really make sense. He's a young kid. You want to get him experience. Crichton, again, against the Bunnies, a grudge match. They're going to be pushing for still a top 4. Like, it's going to be a tight top 4 finish potentially still. So I don't think Crichton rests. They've got a bye in a couple of weeks, or next week, so it's not like they played like 10 on the trot or anything. Nikora, again, I would doubt it. Eli Katoa, I wouldn't be shocked if just one, like someone like a Katoa or a Nikora or one of these random guys does get rested. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really see that many of them getting rested. Cleary definitely is a potential, just the way Penrith have done it. I just don't know, because he's had such a long layoff already. Maybe they just want to give him the extra game. We'll see. I'm sort of hoping he does get... Like, for me, I'm going to have a couple of trades left for the last round, unless something goes fucking horribly wrong. So, I mean, I'm not going to lie. I do hope there's a couple of big restings in the last game, so I can make a bit of ground up. like we said, there's a couple of good options in the halfback spot if Cleary does get rested. D. Brown, doubt it. Moses out. They're not going to fucking rest Brown. Lockie Galvin. I mean, again, like I said, the 5'8" spot, it's a bit scuffed. We don't know what's happening there. Galvin, I don't know. Young kid, few niggles this year. He could get rested. You never know. Laurie, if they rest all their players, Laurie could become a play. But also, if he's back on the bench in a couple of weeks, Laurie's probably a sell for me anyway. Dom Young, again, I would doubt it. Kiraz, I would doubt it. Val Holmes, I would doubt it. I don't think the Cowboys really rested much last year. And it's a big game against the Dogs. Again, it's a big game. There's a lot of, big games in that final game. Like, Cowboys-Dogs, that could be a big game for top 8, top 4 ramifications, potentially. So, I don't see too many there. Kale Iro, yeah, maybe. You never know. Garrick, nah. Who fucking knows? He'll probably have another goddamn head knock. Marju McLean will be a good play. And then Tedesco Trbojevic. Honestly, again, I'm probably hoping one of these guys rests because I would love a free trade to a Kalen Ponga in that last game of the round against the Dolphins. I would love for one of them to be rested. But yeah, I think overall, we don't need 3 trades. So looking forward, if we're going to use one trade, I think we pretty much save the one trade for the next few weeks on any injury / Dane Laurie, depending what happens with Laurie. I'm just praying that Laurie comes back next week and plays fullback and Edwards is still out. And then in a couple of weeks, if Laurie is back to the bench, you could still hold him. It doesn't really matter if he loses cash, because if he comes back and starts in round 27, then it doesn't matter how cheap he is, right? But yeah, that's one. So Laurie definitely potentially a trade out in a couple of weeks, which dude, he just makes me so damn salty. And then the rest of the team, we just saved the trade for one of the big guns getting injured. We have enough cover to cover pretty much anything. So yeah, it's pretty much it's looking pretty good. It's looking pretty good. I wouldn't mind a little bit of chaos thrown in, but yeah, for now, we got Olakau'atu coming back. He'll be nice and fresh. He'll be fit and firing, so that's a nice big plus for us. Yeah, I think it's looking pretty okay overall. Round 22. Who did Manly take on round 23? They versus Canberra. GIO. Yeah, pretty good matchup. I don't know. Canberra can be good. They can be terrible. Again, they're fucking like the Dolphins, bro. You don't know what you're going to get from Canberra, but that's okay. So yeah, that looks... I'm pretty happy with the team overall. Let's have a look at who are people... everyone's going to be getting in... Yeah, Payne Haas, Val Holmes... Cleary, if you didn't own Cleary last week, you're catching up a bit, but that's fine. They're trading out Jerome Hughes, which is a little bit surprising. Ronnie to Casey McLean, makes sense. Ronnie to Val. Terrell Mater for Nor Blake. If you own Payne Haas, again, I think if you have the option between Fanor Blake or Payne Haas, I definitely would say Payne Haas, but I don't think you go wrong either way. I think just not, if you didn't own Fanor Blake for this long, the fact that they've got that buy in round 27, it's it could be a big one. It could be a big one in round 27. We never know. Garrick to Holmes, fucking 1%. It's not a lot of people, but I wouldn't be trading fucking Garrick. Terrell May to Kiraz, Ronnie, Blaze Salungi. What are the top 1% doing? Terrell May to Payne Haas, Ronnie to Val. So yeah, a lot of people are getting in Payne Haas in the top 1%. Makes sense. There's no pod play. There's no pod play in the front row that is going to score as much as Payne Haas, really. So there's no point. There's no point to go poddish in that position. I think just make the ground up in other positions. Ronnie to Holmes, McLean, Terrell May to Kiraz. Surprising how many people have I guess they have... Yeah, they have a Curran in second row and then maybe a Fermor. They can switch up. Ronnie, Jermaine Asako, that's a big decision training under Zarko, but I do agree. Azarko just hasn't... He's been solid. Like, I don't know. What is... I feel like he's averaged about 60 this year. Like, he hasn't really gone low, but he just hasn't... Yeah, I mean, he's averaging 67. He did have, like, a big 150 in there. I know that. But he just hasn't had those big ones any consistent at all. So, I get it. I get training in Zarko. It's a very tough run home for the Dolphins. Terrell May to Tarpany. I mean, I guess Tarpany's like the... Tarpany's the one, I guess, pod front row forward who doesn't... The good thing with Tarpany, he doesn't have a bye. What's he averaging? 64. He's actually been pretty good this year. Like, I guess similar to most years, he's come better. Like, you just never pick Tarpany up at the start of the year. We'll have a look. But, yeah, 59, 39, 53, 72, 55... And then an 81 thrown in there, 59, 51, 49, 52. Then about here, he's ramped up the minutes. He's gone up to like 45, 50 to about 6. Yeah, it's fucking still all over the shop. But 75, 110, 58, 89. He's been good. And the big thing is that he doesn't have a bye, which is nice. But I don't know. I have enough covered that I just don't see the point in me doing that. Ronnie to Manu, Terrell to Fennell Blake, Ruben Cotter to Payne Haas. But yeah, that's. I mean, yeah. I'm trying to think. Who would be like ideal targets for the run home? I mean, again, Zach Lomax in round. Let's have a look. I think it's around 23. Zach Lomax becomes like. Not a must-have, but it's like very tempting. Like scoring again, he scored 70, got that try assist, which helped him. It would have been nice if he scored a lot lower. He would have dropped a bit of cash. Takes on Melbourne, so another tough one, 140 break even. But then I think it's a pretty good. I mean, Dogs also tough, but then it's Gold Coast Sharks, Para, Canberra. It's good. It's good. He would be a luxury trade. He's a great luxury trade in for that next round or 2 rounds later. What other centre wingers are like looking at the total points? Jesse Ramian, I wouldn't go there. Kelly, no. Manu, obviously a big one. To'o, I mean, he's still over 800k. I couldn't go To'o. I think I'd just much rather Lomax in a couple of weeks than a To'o. I mean, Kyle Felt, no. Tupou, Gagai, Bostock. Bostock's been pretty good, but he does have those low scores in him against the better sides, obviously. Nick Meaney, again, he just hasn't... Even with the goal kicking, like, I don't know, the Storm aren't, like, putting teams to the absolute sword to get, like, 40 points in goal kicks, and then he's also just... I think his form has been pretty poor this year as a whole as well, so, yeah, hasn't quite hit the heights. Fucking Connor Tracy. Definitely wouldn't be going Connor Tracy. I mean, I hope... I'm not going to lie, I hope people get... People do love chasing last week's points, or like some people do. I don't think the majority do. But I think Connor Tracy is the biggest trap of all time. Like, he's had a couple of big scores. 167, yes. 108, very, very good. He also got 86 against the Titans, 91 against the Bunnies. But then, I mean, 37, 28, 29, 37, 34, like... No, I think he's an absolute trap. I mean, it doesn't look like many people are going him, which is smart. I was very tempted by Taruva when I was talking about Laurie last week, but yeah, Taruva's just, I don't know, he's gone off the boil. He's still averaging 60 for the year, but hasn't quite. And it was strange. Like, he went to fullback obviously when Laurie went down and just didn't really go that well. I thought it was like, if it was Laurie still a fullback, he goes big 100, but Taruva just didn't really do anything at fullback, which was very strange. Yeah, there's no one really else. I mean, Herbie's been really solid, but just doesn't quite have those big ones in him. Dallin. Fucking Dallin. Isaac Tungo. Fucking Tungo, dude. Like, oh my God. Holy shit. I mean, Tungo, you keep sort of thinking about Tungo being like a good trade in. And like, even against, they put on like 50 points. Tungo gets 33. I mean, granted, like all the outside backs scored badly, but Tungo just, oh my word. Is he like one of the biggest miss in rugby league? I mean, I don't mind, like he's not, I don't know. I think he's pretty overrated just as a footy player. Like he's fine, but definitely don't think he's that good. Like he's dangerous in attack, but I think defensively he can be pretty weak at times. Supercoach as well though, like he had those big scores. It's so fucking funny, dude. Like he had these 2 big scores, and that was when, I mean, everyone knows, right? And the funny part about it is that he got those 2 scores when back rowers had to move to the center, and he carved them up, and then people were calling it out, being like, oh, you only got big scores because they were playing second rowers. And then the defenders of Tungo were going crazy defending him, like he still had to do it, like he's still a gun. And then, I mean, just look at the rest of it, bro. Like, really bad. I mean, he can definitely go on a run with Cleary back in the side. He's got a good draw coming up, but yeah, he's fallen off a damn cliff, bro. He's fallen, because I don't remember so many low scores. Like, let's have a look at his previous season. He's always carrying injuries because he doesn't believe in doctors and stuff. But yeah, I mean, 2023, he missed a bunch of footy. He has those big ones in him. Then he missed a bunch. He came back with a bang. 91, 69, 118, 108. Then he missed a bunch more footy. Came back around 27. But, I mean, even 2023, he did have consistently pretty big scores. And was 2022 his rookie season? I think so, right? He was pretty solid. Yeah, he was just a lot more solid, I think, in this year. That was his rookie season, wasn't it? Surely he didn't play in 2021. No, he debuted late in the season. But yeah, 2022, like, I think he was just a much more solid football player. I don't know. I think he's fucking, I don't know. He's still in the Matrix now, I think. He's too fucking caught up in it. He's gone off the boil big time, but fair enough. Anyone else? Rogers obviously back on the wing, which isn't... it's probably not great because Sean Johnson's back. Tamari Martin is dropped, which I haven't really talked about that, but that's pretty surprising. Sean Johnson is going to command most footy down that right-hand side. So Dallin sort of becomes like an okay play, but I don't really love RTS on the left wing now. I mean, Joey Suoli'i. Yeah, it's not really much doing. I think it's Lomax. He's your point of difference, I think, in the center wing, because he's only 15%. Like, you know, a lot of people would have traded him out, which I think was the right decision over Origin. What other positions? I mean, I'll look at 5'8". It's Jaden Campbell. I mean, I know a few people are getting in Burden. I don't know. I just don't know about Matty Burden. Honestly, I still think if you are tossing up, like if you're going to go Matty Burden, honestly, I think just go fucking Cameron Munster. Like, Munster is like slightly more expensive, but I think I'd just rather Munster's upside. He doesn't have goal kicking, obviously, and he's got the injury, but I think I prefer that. Burden is pretty highly owned. Luke Brooks, he's still down on his starting price. Oh, Brooksy. It's crazy he's actually down. I really didn't think he would be down on his starting price. I thought he'd be a pretty solid, like, 60 average, but no, he's just done what he did at the Tigers. Which is, you got to give him the consistency tag, bro. He's been mighty consistent, I guess. Getting those fucking 40 to 50. Cody Walker, yeah. I mean, Luai's a bit of a pod for the run home, for sure. He's just a bit too expensive. Yeah, a little bit too expensive. If you have plenty of cash, I mean, fuck, Luai is a pod. I don't hate it, honestly. Maxi Plath, solid, but yeah. I mean, Campbell, fuck. I'm still upset about Campbell scoring 100 points last week. He just got so many, like, the try assists were all dog passes, man. Like, they all hit the deck, bounced straight up into the hands of Cam Pereira, and our boy Hemiso Fido just didn't even try to get across to even attempt to stop a try. I was losing it. The 2 tries that got scored, man. Oh man, that pissed me off. I guess, yeah, I mean, Trindle, I sort of forget Trindle is dual 5'8" halfback. Man, if I just went Trindle over Jai Gray when I went Jai Gray, I'd be like these fucking 50-50 calls, bro. I would have been in such a better position because I wouldn't have traded Trindle to Laurie. I might have traded like a Galvin to Laurie potentially, but I still would have had Trindle. He's gone well. He's got a good draw coming up still. I mean, South, Gold Coast, Newcastle Dragons. It's fucking good, dude. I can't bring him in. Yeah, I just can't, but man, he's been good. I should have... he was such a 50... Dude, I was so torn on Jai Gray or Mulatalo, and I went with Gray, and he did fine, but Trindle has come out and gone bang, bang, so that's what hurts. That's what hurts, but... You know, that's Supercoach. It's these little decisions that if you get correct, you're going to be flying. If you don't, you're going to be struggling, and that's just the way it goes. But yeah, I think that pretty much wraps it up. Not too much else to really talk about. I think we're looking pretty good for the round. I didn't actually say... Oh, yeah, so I did talk about vice captain. Who would I drop? Okay, let's... If I went Tedesco, I think Tedesco probably needs 150 to loop. I just think... I think 140 to 150, the way Cleary is playing at the moment, I think. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you could go a little less. We got a pretty strong bench, especially with Brayley starting. It's we can take an AE, not too shabbily. So, who can we... But you got to drop someone as well. So... Gold Coast Bronx. We've got... we got Fafita or Fermor. We could drop Fermor, honestly. That's fine. Yeah, that's actually fine. We could definitely drop... Yeah, what we should do, actually, start Fafita, and we should start Fermor. So, in the case, if Teddy goes huge, then we could drop Fermor. I think that's probably the most obvious, because then you got Melbourne. I'd probably rather play Katoa. I'd definitely rather play Katoa over Fermor. Sharkies. You could drop a Iro. Don't hate that, but again, I'd probably rather drop Fermor. Yeah, that's okay. You know, we can loop actually not too bad. We can drop Fermor, bring in Olakwatu, and captain Olakwatu. That works out. So yeah, the vice captain does work. We can do the same thing with Holmes. It's just a matter, yeah, if we just go Holmes or Tedesco. I don't know. It's a tough one. It is a tough choice, Tedesco or Holmes. They both have the ceiling, for sure. Holmes probably has a bit of a bigger ceiling nowadays. Because what is Holmes? I feel like Holmes has got like a big 160 this year, has he? What's his big score? I mean, he went 144. Fuck, he went so well to start the year, and I didn't have him, which killed me. Yeah, I guess he's only gone. I mean, he went 136 against the Tigers last time, and then 144 against the Dragons. Tedesco's got the ceiling over him this year for sure. He's gone 150, 150. I mean, Jesus Christ, look at the run. Tedesco. Even to start the year, dude, we talk about like starting the year, the high scoring players don't score that well. Fucking 70, 103, 135. I mean, granted, he did then go 47, 4, 41, but it was a good start. And then, oh my word, look at the run after round 7. 80, 110, 80, or 90, 80, 150, 100, 80, 120, 150, 30, and then 126. My God. I don't know. Probably Tedesco. Probably go Tedesco. Okay. That pretty much wraps it up. Hopefully, guys enjoyed. Hopefully, we have a good week coming up. I feel pretty good about the week. I just want a good start. I want a good start. Hopefully, Galvin. I guess the one thing... You know what? Oh... I was just going to say, I mean, I know Galvin was in a bit of doubt in the lead up. Obviously, I'll keep an eye on it. I think he's good to go. But if he's a late out, I could use the boost this week. And trade Galvin to Munster or Trindle. I don't mind that, honestly, if Galvin is out. If Galvin's playing, we're not going to do it. If he's a late out, I'd probably do it. Or we could reverse the Holmes trade, but I do really like the Holmes trade. Yeah. I think Galvin's good to go, but I think it's still one I do have to keep an eye on just in case, because he did fail to finish the game last week. So, yeah, we'll see. But, yeah, hopefully you guys are enjoying the content. Make sure to like and comment, and I'll see you guys in the next one.